gonna walk over to see something.
Hey guys, we got a captain here from the 14th Brooklyn, I believe.
Yep, Company G, New York State Militia.
Yes, sir. So I know I already asked, but I want to formally ask: would it be okay if we interview you for just a couple minutes?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, sir, what is your name, sir?
Bill Pangrass.
Bill Pengrass?
Mm-hmm.
Well, sir, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Corporal Tomlin. I'm with 47th New York Volunteers. Can you tell me a little bit about your role here and about your unit?
As company commander, in charge of a full company, we're 14th Brooklyn, New York State Militia, and we were never in Florida. We're Army of the Potomac, and we were a very well-known and popular regiment during the Civil War. The reason we weren't famous afterwards is our colonel didn't have political aspirations, so he didn't write a lot about us.
So you didn't have any real
Reason-
connections to keep
right.
you guys going?
Mm-hmm. A lot of times our after-action report matched the other regiments, but then suddenly a year later, the other regiments' reports were different because their colonels were going for governor or senator or some political job. 14th Brooklyn is the New York State Militia, different from New York Volunteer Infantry. The volunteer infantries were created for the Civil War. State militia units were old-time units that have been together for a long time. Our individual rifle companies dated back to the original Dutch burghers, so we're one of the oldest military units in the country, and we were actually formed the companies into a regiment in, I believe it was 1854.
Okay, so this was when pretty much you guys were officially formed as regiments when the southern states were really starting to get more.
Not really. It was the New York before. Everything was companies, but then they got so big and so many people, they decided to put the companies
Instead
into
of
a
having
regiment.
a couple dozen companies,
They had
we
one
just make it
regiment.
half a dozen regiments.
Right.
Okay.
And you have to have enough people to create a regiment.
For the viewers, about approximately how many people make up a regiment versus a company?
During that time, if you're fully strength, a regiment was 100 men, one captain, a first lieutenant, second lieutenant, 4 sergeants, 8 corporals, and 65 privates. And then 2 or more regiments would make up a brigade, and thus you'd have like a brigadier general.
Okay.
And 2 or more brigades would be a corps, and 2 or more corps would be an army.
Okay.
We had the Army of the Potomac, the Army of the Cumberland, the Army,
Or in my case, the Army of the James.
Right. Mm-hmm. And the North named their corps, their armies, after rivers. The Confederates named theirs after states. So they had a case where the
So, probably the most commonly known is the Army of Northeastern Virginia.
right, but you had a case where the Army of the Tennessee was facing the Army of Tennessee. A little confusing.
Yeah,
And
I can see how somebody
Right.
like reading Army of the Tennessee fights Army of Tennessee. It's like,
yes.
what? Is there a mutiny?
But also, the 14th Brooklyn had a little bit of identity crisis. The governor hated us.
Oh.
And wouldn't give us permission to leave the state. So our congressman, Moses Odell, knew Lincoln, and President Lincoln personally ordered us into service. The technicality, he didn't have the constitutional right to do it, but he did it. And so when we were leaving, the governor of New York sent a message to our colonel, by what authority are you leaving the state of New York? And they said, by the authority of the President of the United States, and with your blessings, we hope that we're going. And so one of his favorite regiments was the 14th New York Volunteer Infantry out of Oneida County. Well, they gave them 14th New York when they signed on. They tried to make us 84th New York Volunteer Infantry, which is a double slap because volunteer infantry means you were just created.
Mhm.
So
Where you guys have
been
been
there
there.
forever.
Yeah.
And so they were adamant about it. Our payroll documents always said 14th Brooklyn. And we wouldn't answer anybody who said 84th New York. They had a surgeon assigned to the regiment, and he showed up at 84th New York on his baggage. When he came out of the colonel's tent, the 84s were scraped off.
Oh.
They sent 2 different times. He sent officers to our unit, and we refused to accept them.
Because they were there to take command of the 84.
Well, they'd take command over a company.
Well,
you know,
yeah, that's essentially
But,
what I meant. They
yeah.
came there with a
And-
commission for the 84.
Right, and we refused to accept them. We almost got in trouble with that. It's just the generals loved us so much and knew how good we were, they stood with us.
Right.
At First Bull Run, Stonewall Jackson said he was facing those red-legged devils from Brooklyn. And when they
I
tried to
remember
change,
hearing about
yeah,
that.
and when they tried to change our name, McDowell said, "I led you into battle as the 14th. You were baptized by fire as the 14th, and you'll be the 14th under federal service." But it was what they call a social club militia. Rich guys. You know, everybody hears about the 7th New York being rich guys, but the 14th Brooklyn was their equivalent. Our band, members from our band, regimental band, were from the New York and Brooklyn Philharmonic Orchestra, and we paid them officers' wages. And we were good at everything we did. We started out with 1,000 men. They took the engineering company away from us because the federal government does not include an engineering company in a regiment.
Right.
And infantry regiment. So we went into battle basically with 800 men, and that's when we met Stonewall Jackson. But by the time Antietam came around, we were down to 128 effectives.
Oh, wow. That's a big difference in numbers.
Right, and matter of fact, when I went up and we did the 135th Antietam, we had 125 men in 14th Brooklyn, various companies, which was appropriate for that time.
Right.
But not everybody was killed. Some deserted. The colonel said, "You don't have to desert. Turn your weapon and leave. We don't want you here."
Yeah.
Most of them.
If you're not going to stand
Right.
and fight, why have you here to begin with? Right?
Yeah, if you run, it affects the whole army. But most of them came back because they didn't get a warm welcome when they went back to Brooklyn.
Right.
He'd take an enlisted man back that left, but he wouldn't take an officer back. And
But that
several.
officer was in charge of who knows how many men.
It depends on his rank,
Right.
you know. And but our colonel said that due to our social status or money, every man in the regiment deserved to be an officer, and you can't have 1,000 officers. So,
That'd be kind of weird, wouldn't it?
yeah, so several of our privates and sergeants left the regiments to be officers. But I was going over, we're Company G, and I was going over our regimental history. And in 1864, 64 at the Battle of Spotsylvania, we were a 3-year regiment, so they pulled us out of line. We were fighting right there the day they pulled us out of line to send us back to New York, and less than 100 of the originals returned to New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we did have 100 men that were new, but they didn't have officers, so they put them in the 5th New York, reconstituted. They refused to wear their uniform, and they were going to fill out their own companies, break the guys up. So they elected their own officers and showed up as a full company. And so in the 5th New York history, they have a whole chapter on that extra company. And so still right up to the end of the war, the 14th Brooklyn uniforms were seen in the Army. And the federal government wouldn't provide our uniforms, but the city of Brooklyn provided our uniforms for us. And the city of Brooklyn provided reinforcements. By Gettysburg, we were back up to 358 men from 128. The governors wouldn't do that. They'd create new regiments as more politically thing. So the city of New York recruited and sent soldiers to replenish us. altogether with losses and replenishments, we had 1,700 men under arms at various times during the war.
That's when you think about it, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot of men and Brooklyn was a separate city at that time.
Yeah.
It was not part of New York. And actually, the regiment is still an active New York National Guard unit. You can still go to a museum in Brooklyn, and they have the original uniforms. We adopted these as French chasseurs, a PA, which means light infantry. And people mistake us for zouaves because of the red pants, but
Well, there's
totally
a big
different.
difference between a zouave and a chasseur.
Right. And the chasseurs chasseur a pied means light infantry for the French. Chasseur is hunter, and pied means feet. Zouaves were North African troops. And so they looked more Asiatic with turbans and big baggy pants.
Right.
And it was the phase that we were going through. They loved everything French, so the North had 35 Zouave regiments, and I think 6 or 7 chasseur regiments. The South had 2 Zouaves, and maybe 1 or 2 chasseurs. It's funny now it's rare, but we do Confederate. We just change jackets.
Yeah. It's only,
I have another blue jacket, the same color blue, but have the gold on the arms. The rank is up here,
Yeah.
and my kepi has gold all over it. And then
That's really all you got to do, and then you're
yeah.
in your Confederate
Right.
impression.
Yeah, I've been in a battle where I wore my Confederate jacket as a Union soldier, and nobody knew. And then when they killed me, they came up, and I said, "Oh, hey, Private, you just shot a Confederate officer," and I held my collar where the rank is up here. I said, "Oh, we didn't know. So, but now when we're down here, like I said, we were never in Florida. If we're in a real reenactment, they're doing what the battle actually did. If they didn't have any red pants unit in it, we go in blue or we don't do it.
Right.
If it's like this, just a simulation of what happened, then we'll wear our uniforms.
Yeah, because a lot of people get confused when you say reenactment versus living history event. So,
So in the living history, don't shoot each other too much.
too much.
Yeah, you have basically it's a fine line between a simulation, Civil War simulation, and a reenactment.
Yeah.
So.
One gives you an idea on what it was like, and the other one, it pretty well shows you what it was like.
Now, also, I guess I can get into the heraldry of it. Everything meant something. Like, we had corps badges. Now, they knew who we were when they saw us.
Right.
But you got all these blue fields out there. Who's who, what do they belong to? So they developed corps badges. You have one.
Yep. I actually did a video on my YouTube channel about corps badges.
Right. The corps badge is for the first corps is a circle. The gold around it means I'm an officer. The red means I'm first division. Red, white, and blue. You're in the 3rd division.
Yep.
And so in first corps, 1st division, 14th regiment, infantry. The French horn means infantry. They didn't come with the cross rifles until the Indian Wars. So they know a lot by just what, if I don't have my jacket on, they'll see the gold on the pants, so they know I'm an officer. They don't know exactly what rank.
But
Same
they know
thing.
you're an officer.
Right. And if I just have my kepi on, gold braid, the enlisted men, if they had it, would be stamped brass. And so that way you know. But with us being different, they knew who we were. But for the vast army, it makes it easier in a reenactment to tell your friends.
The whole idea of corps badges started with, I believe it was Philip Kearny yelling at some not officers, but some infantrymen, telling them to get back into line. But he found out that it wasn't his.
Right. And not everybody did it, but it's easy to tell. It makes sense.
Yeah. You can easily look at somebody by their caps and everything and see their corps badges, and it's like, okay, this is 1st Infantry, 2nd Division.
Right.
Or a 1st Corps, 2nd Division.
And if you see one with all 3 colors on their corps badge, and when means that they were in headquarters, covering all staff for all 3 regiments or divisions.
Well, sir, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I really appreciate you taking
Okay.
this time to talk with me and have this little interview.
And it's always good to spread the word out. We always need more people in the hobby, both sides. Sometimes, like today, I had that colors. I had 3 officers and 1 second sergeant. That was it.
Oh,
I've been, take my jacket off, go out as an enlisted man, and then they put me back in line and give me somebody else's company. They don't usually do that, but
yeah. And my mother here, she's actually an officer in our unit.
Okay.
She's with she's actually the chief of our company sanitation committee.
Okay.
So try not to give her too many ideas.
Yeah. Let me give you a few hints, man.
Yeah, a few hints. But
Oh, I'll fall down that rabbit hole
Because
big time.
if you outrank them, it's cool.
I mean, she outranks me already.
Yeah, I had 2 father and son unit. He's actually one of my lieutenants now, and his daughter fought with us because our rules are if you 10 feet away you can't tell. And you stretch a little bit. My daughter fought with us, and so did his. So anyway, he's giving her a hard time, and I went up to her. How about if I make you a sergeant? You'll outrank your dad. I said, that'd be good. And I looked at him, so he kind of backed off on it.
Trying to think of how they used to put it. They were like, let's say the grandfathers of the field. If you had good artillery, you controlled the field.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
While the infantry has to get within 200-300 yards.
mhm.
I believe the 10-pounder can fire almost 3,000 yards, something like that.
I believe this one at full elevation and full load has an effective range of 1 mile.
That's definitely a lot farther than 200 yards.
Yeah, the shorter guns that are down the field are howitzers. They have an effective range of about half a mile. This
I
one,
don't know if you guys can see it, but right there between the muzzle of that Napoleon and the trailer, there's one of those howitzers he's talking about.
now the Parrot rifle is a rifled barrel, which means the rounds are more accurate.
Correct. Compared to your, I forgot the year, like 1858 Napoleons. I
And
believe they were.
Napoleons were smoothbore, the howitzers were smoothbore. This one is a rifled barrel. It has, I believe, 7 complete twists per linear foot within the barrel. And what that does is it spins the shot and it makes the flight more level, more accurate.
Yeah, kind of like a football.
Yeah, kind of like our modern bullet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we were sitting over there, just behind those wires over there, and every time one of these things went off, we could feel it.
well, to be honest with you, I've been reenacting, gosh, over 50 years.
Really?
And every time the first shot of the battle, I jump. I'll admit it. And then we're good. Even though I'm sitting there watching it, I know it's going to happen, but boom. Because it's something you don't hear every day.
Right. Yeah. Me and my mother here, we've only been reenacting for a year.
Okay.
February will make a full year that we've been reenacting. We're with the 47th New York Volunteers.
Okay. Actually, I used to know the commanding officer way back when. He's unfortunately long since passed. But like my New York regiments would hang around together
Yeah.
a lot of times. So. I do a lot of work with the Fort King Historic Landmark, which is in Ocala, and they're Second Seminole War.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of a different style of reenacting, but it's still part of American history. So
Yeah, I'm actually trying to read a little bit up on the Seminole Wars because one of my favorite generals from the Civil War fought in the Second Seminole Wars. General George Henry Thomas.
And I'm drawing a blank,
Yeah.
but the officer general that was in charge of the Civil War era ordnance, big guy, I can't think of his name now, but he was in the Seminole Wars too. Ordnance Department general in charge, the head of everything, Abraham Lincoln's nemesis.
I remember right now.
Winifred Scott.
Oh well, Winfield's gone.
Oh, Winfield's. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
but he was an officer during the Seminole Wars too.
Fuss and feathers.
Fuss and feathers.
Yeah.
You'll need to look up the Henry rifle and its history. Abraham Lincoln field tested Henry himself, at a target range.
Right.
Winfield Scott did not want to order the Henry rifle because the soldiers would waste too many bullets.
Right. Fewer bullets you can fire per minute, fewer wasted rounds.
But the funny thing is, the Confederates said them Yankees got a damn rifle that you load on Sunday and you can shoot all week.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that when they said, "Oh, you're not going to give them Henry rifles because they waste ammo."
But from what I understand, how many he bought? 5,000 Henrys and assigned them to a regiment. And from the day they got the Henry rifles, they never lost. Yeah. I think it was a good idea.
Yeah. I know. Even when the Spencer rifles and everything started coming out, people were a little hesitant on it because, well, when you think about it, up until that point, all weapons have been, at maximum like 3 to 4 shots per minute.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that was one of the odd things too. Look at the second Seminole uprising. The Seminoles were getting rifled muskets from civilian vendors, whereas the Army was still issuing to the soldiers smoothbore muskets. At one point during the conflict, the Seminoles had better weapons than the American Army.
Oh, wow. We're definitely going to have to read up on that.
Yeah, it's just that they simply got outnumbered. And
Your name again, sir?
my last name is Baker Polinick. My rank today is captain.
It was a great pleasure talking with you. It was a great pleasure watching all this.
Yeah, thank you. And also, you look on the website or Facebook. We got the 14th Brooklyn, Louisiana Public and Zoo Office. That's our page.
Okay. Hey everyone. I hope you really enjoyed this video because I'm pretty sure me and Angie both really enjoyed being here. What do you say, Angie?
Oh, yes.
I think she's just happy she got to see the horses.
I saw horses!
She's not the only one. It was great.
Yeah, we really also appreciate Ryan being here. It was good having you here, buddy.
Thank you.
Yes, it was.
But yeah, stick around. We'll try and have some more combat footage for you. So stick around. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I really appreciate it. It really helps. And I will catch you guys later on down the trail as we keep walking through history. Until next time.